Hello and welcome to Star Citizen Sunday. This is a weekly show where I cover all that has happened in the verse of Star Citizen over the past week, so grab yourself a cup of tea and get comfortable. So in this week's show we have the usual 10 for the chairman and around the verse, and there's a letter from the chairman where we hear about the repair ship, and I sniffle along as I am still trying to get rid of my cold, so let's get on with it. So on 10 for the chairman, there was a few questions I've picked out, not all 10, starting with what role will fuel play in the persistent universe. Now, Chris Roberts explains that there will be some sort of resource management with your fuel. He doesn't know whether or not there'll be different types of fuel. He knows there will be fuel for your boost and then maybe fuel for your ship itself. And if you run out of that, then he did mention something about drifting at sort of 5% of your top velocity, so you won't be able to move as fast, obviously. And so if you run out of boost as well, you'll have to think about how you're going to manage that when you're dogfighting or when you're going on a run, rather than just blasting through it all constantly and then letting it recharge. I think it'll be one unit that goes and it doesn't recharge again. It'll be completely gone. But obviously, if you have got a ship that you can go past a gas giant, you can scoop up gas from that and then transform it into fuel. And he also says that he thinks there'll be different fuel for your jump engines. That will take a special kind of fuel compared to what your ship would usually need to just manoeuvre. And he also said that the game engine can handle different types, like multiple types of fuel. So I hope they do incorporate different types, because it will make a much more vast level of gameplay where you have to manage each different type and then go and refuel or call for a refuel. Who knows how it'll work, but I like the idea of that. So the next question was to do with whether there's companies who specialise in vintage vehicles like propeller planes or sports cars. And Chris Roberts says that he's got the company who make the little models. They make like vintage models like the RSI Zeus. But I think this question meant real life flyable machines. Chris is not sure. He says it's possibly, but not actual vehicles. He said he did mention that there was a huge company list that they have, that we have not seen all of them. We only know of the companies we know now, but there's apparently a big database, like a wiki, their own sort of wiki that they've compiled, and there's people that have to create the logos for all these companies, and there's hundreds by the sounds of things. So the next question was, when you're facing destruction, your ship is about to blow up, will we be warned, and will there be like a doom sequence, or will it just explode and then you're dead? And Chris Roberts says that there's definitely going to be like alarms. Bigger ships may say you hull at 10%. There's going to be red lights on bigger ships as well. And he says on the huge ships there will be like sort of sequence destructions where like the reactor will explode and then it'll in turn blow up other bits. So you'll have time to get out, but I wouldn't leave it too long. He said it won't just blow up instantly and then you're done. He said it'll blow up in segments, and just as long as you're not in that segment, like if you're in the engine room and the engine blows up, then you're probably going to die before the ship's blown up. So next question after that was, will there be missions which require a Phoenix ship or the 890 jump? And Chris Roberts says yes, definitely. There will be some form of VIP ferrying where companies will rent out yachts. What I thought might be interesting is if we can obviously rent ships from other people, can we hire ourselves an 890 jump for a party with your friends from a player? So if you own an 890 jump, you might get an offer from someone saying, can we pay you this much for having it for the evening, and travelling from one point to the next, maybe, So if you've got one, you could probably make that into a bit of a business yourself. So with all the talk over the Moby Glass, the next question is, can it be stolen from you? If you were shot and down, can someone come along, rip it off your arm and then go with it? And he says that I think that can happen. He said it can be taken, but the Moby Glass is bound to your biosignature. So if it is taken, then you won't be able to access, all, like, he sort of related it to losing a phone. If you lost your iPhone, you can go on the internet and shut it down, and then it will be useless. So I'd assume it'll be like that. Plus, you just can't, you won't have your shopping, your navigation, your God knows what else, all that's on the Moby Glass. You just won't have access to it until you get a new Moby Glass. And then he said it will sync with the cloud, which I assume they'll have their own version of the cloud in there, and all your information will come back and be logged back onto your Moby Glass, so you won't lose everything. It's just you'll have lost that Moby Glass. You need to buy a new one. Next question is, can people shuttle between ships in space without having to go planetside? And yes, quite an obvious answer really. Obviously we've got EVA, there'll be docking collars. A lot of the ships have docking collars. There's going to be obviously landing bays in the big ships. But he also mentioned things like fleet tenders. which will go between each ship. So I assume there'll be the two huge ships, and they'll have little passenger ferries that will take groups of people from one to the next. Very, very cool. I like that. So the next question was, can the hospital ship be used as a mobile spawn point? And yes, generally it's the same as a normal functioning hospital, but in space. It's mobile. Now, this doesn't mean that if you get killed, you'll just immediately respawn there, go back into the battle. Or maybe it does, who knows? Because he did say he doesn't want it to be like that. It's not going to be like Call of Duty where you just keep respawning. But obviously, the death of a spaceman, you only have so many lives, and if you lose them all, then you're done for. I think it's going to be more like sort of armour in the sense that you will have to be... If you get killed in a battle that's lasting a while, you will have time to be revived. If you don't get revived, you will lose a life, respawn back in the hospital, maybe the mobile hospital, and then have to make your way back to the battle again. So I assume you can actually keep coming back into battle, but it would be a longer process than just a countdown of 5 seconds. And the last question I chose was, is there infinite character customizations? And Chris Roberts says that it's like a traditional MMO. You will be able to change your face, you'll be able to manipulate it to look different, but he did say there'll be some way so it doesn't look too ridiculous, because we don't want to be walking around space with people with huge long noses and massive ears. He's going to keep it so it looks realistic. He says there's loads of clothes, eyewear, like there's even a Google Glass equivalent. He said there's contacts, lenses, there's monocles. I think there's a lot there. It's not going to be infinite, obviously, because these things have to be created and they're not just randomly generated. But there's going to be a huge amount to create yourself. Now, also, he did say there's a possibility of tattoos. They're not too sure yet whether or not they're gonna put it in. Maybe if it's not in first thing, it'll be in later down the line. But he did say there's going to be the same sort of amount of customization for your ships as well, which is exciting stuff. Right, that's it for the 10 for the chairman. So also this week we had a new letter from the chairman, and it was a bit delayed as obviously CitizenCon was a very busy time. We hit not only the 57 million stretch mark, but the 58 million stretch mark as well, which is incredible. With the 57, we opened the Misk Endeavour class research platform, i.e. the hospital ship, and because they didn't have time to create the next ship poll, what they're going to do is they just give us 10,000 UEC instead, which is good. I'm happy with that, because I spent all mine before on the tractor beam, and he did say to hold on to it, because there's going to be some really cool upgrades and weapons which will be usable in the Arena Commander. So be patient and we'll see what they are. So for the next ship, for the 59 million stretch goal, it is called the Anvil Aerospace Crucible, a so-called flying toolbox. The Crucible is the ship you want on your side when you suffer an asteroid collision or survive a pirate attack. Structurally, the Crucible consists of a cockpit, a drive unit and a workshop. The Crucible's workshop is versatile. It can be used as a base for conducting EVA repairs, complete with requisite tool storage, or it can use magnetic grapplers to attach directly to the ship hull. In this situation, the workshop actually opens to space and allows a repair crew direct access to the damaged ship. A workshop can either maintain artificial gravity or allow for zero-G repair operations, depending on the needs of the mission. The Crucible's cockpit is also outfitted with an array of repair tools, including dual-purpose mounts that can exchange weapons for tractor beams and remote manipulator arms. The Crucible is also part of a larger planned repair system for larger projects. Independent sections of support struts and drive units called the Miller ERS external repair structure can be locked together to form a sort of scaffolding around the damaged ship. Very interesting. The next best thing to an orbital dry dock, basically. The standard ERS unit includes a small drive, thrusters, magnetic attach point and modular hardpoints for mounting tractor beams, repair tools or weapons. ERS segments each have a code defining their shape. You've got P1, which is a straight section, P2 a left turn, and P3 a right turn, etc, etc. With the multiple layouts allowing extensive zero-G construction as necessary. In the case of damaged capital ships, like the Navy's Bengal carriers, hundreds of ERS units might be formed into a lattice work serviced by a dozen or more crucibles. So, in my opinion, that is one hell of a ship. And it is going to be huge. And it also, I wonder if there'll be jobs, if you have that ship, if you have a group of people, you can keep buying these ERS platform things, and then you can start by servicing small ships, repairing small ships, and then every time you buy a new one, you can increase, and you can have an organisation that go out and do this. Christ, exciting stuff. Right, so we had another Around the Verse, episode 17 this time. Sandy Gardner mentions about her event schedule, or the event schedule for 2015, and it sounds like March is the month to put into your diaries to take off, get some PTO. There's going to be events, there's going to be deliverables, there's going to be a lot to see by the sounds of it, so keep that clear. With news from Around the Verse, in Arena Commander, the controls and targeting improvements are ongoing. They are finalising art updates for initial map enlargements, when they're going to double the map size, and additional key bindings and control customization features are going to be sorted for 13.2. In Squadron 42, Mission 4 is being designed. Also, the autopad landing system is being polished, and Ben Lesnick mentions that there will be manual and auto landings in Squadron 42 where you may need to land at a base. In the Persistent universe, they have created a prop database for planet-side interactions, and apparently at the moment there are 300 types of interactions. Behaviour are refining the Terra planet-side location to match the quality of the ArcCorp location, which is the location we saw in the PU demo. Now, ships, there's a lot of concept work on ships at the moment, including the Jeanne cargo ship, the Vandal Blade, Void, Cleaver and Hunter. So that's 4 more ships for the Vandal that we're going to get to see soon. And in Foundry 42, they're working on the Cutlass internals. The new Cutlasses, I think very much the blue one had some very unusual textures, like sort of mirror affected textures, and they would disappear and they'd pop in and out. So it sounds like they're getting that sorted. And also they're getting the Gladius, the Gladiator and the Retaliator hangar ready. So on the most valuable post, it was to Deadly Force, who created a custom sort of Revel and York inspired PC case. And that looks fantastic, it really does. I would love a Southland one if you're out there listening. After that, we went over to customer service with Chelsea and Alexis, and they mentioned that the dog tags will be shipping soon as they are out of production. So if you've ordered a dog tag, they'll be on the way very soon. And then Bug Smashers with Mark and Ben. It was an interesting bug which related to the Cutlass Red. If you tried to lay down in one of the beds, it would just transport you to the middle of the ship and you'd be stuck there for some reason. And he explains how he fixed that, and he also goes into detail about how he writes his code and how now he can do it on the fly. Made no sense to me, so if you're someone who understands that sort of thing, check it out if you're interested. So after that, the interview, which wasn't generally an interview as with questions from the fans, it was more of just a talk to Travis Day and a chat about the new pipeline for the ships. A very interesting character, a very interesting person, but also really interesting things to know about it all. And then when we returned, we were told that the Origin 325A is now flyable. You might have seen some videos about that already. Looks a very nice ship. And also the sneak peek. It's a Mustang. We know that because you can see it on the inside of it all. Maybe the Mustang Beta 3. I'm not sure what it is. I'm not sure if that's a normal variant. It's most likely not a racer. It doesn't look like a racer because it's like a camper type variant. So that's that. I mean, tell me what you think about it. So also this week we had all the CitizenCon studio reports and everything that happened there all broken down into nice 1080p footage. So if you missed it, you can check out that and it'll be a lot more easier to pull up what you want. There was a fan spotlight for YouTube creators like myself. There was a Drake Cutlass 3D commercial, which I haven't managed to figure out how to use. I know I've got 3D capabilities, but I am such a noob, so I haven't watched that. There was a new post called Discovered the Vanguard System. There was a new Galactic Guide for the Baker system. There was a t-shirt sale, which you had either the Arena Commander t-shirt or the Anvil Aerospace t-shirt, and they were only $10 each. I ordered the Anvil one first, and when I realised that the shipping was free, I thought, oh, I might as well order the other one. Get the other one as well, so I've got 2 on the way. And apparently my girlfriend says they're for Christmas because she will buy them for me. Thank you, Rachel. So there's a new Law Builder 18, which is post about the governments and which different government we'll see and who runs what, and also guns. So if you've got a gun in mind that you want to see in Star Citizen, design it and send it to them because they might be interested in seeing it. And finally, it was the Origin 325A is now flyable, as we know. So on a final note, I want to mention about an app which I have recently found on the App Store, which is called Star Citizen Navigator. Now, it is about £1.69, and I don't tend to pay for apps. I would only go for the free ones, but when I looked at the examples of this, it is amazing. It really is. I haven't been asked to do this. I don't know the person who created it, but it is a very, very in-depth guide, and you've got a map of the known system so far and the locations of where these planets are in correlation to other ones. You've got a systems guide which will tell you all about the different systems, the planets within those systems. There's not much known at the moment, and I don't know how quickly it's updated, but you know, there's also starships, all the different starships, the equipment, the races, everything that seems to be going on Star Citizen he's putting on this app. As I say, I don't know how quick he gets it on there, but I've been using it to just read through all the different star systems there are because I'm interested in that. And it's a very useful app, very, very well organised and very well presented. If you're interested, as I say, it's about £1.69. Buy it. It's a good app, I can recommend that. Right, well, that's your lot for this week. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss a show. Comment if you have anything to say. Share if you can be bothered. And like it if you did. And join me again for next week. Thanks for watching.